All right, day 481. Today, we're going to go through how to plug in and analyze a subject to hybrid deal. Now, a subject to deal is when you are buying a property, but you are taking over the payments instead of going out to a new place, getting a new loan to pay off this loan. Okay. Now, the reason why folks will sell properties on a subject to or a hybrid deal is what we call it because if there's a seller finance fees because they want to maximize the purchase price or the sold price that they're selling the property for. Typically, people sell subject to when they're in pain because usually they've fallen behind on their payments or there is not enough equity for them to take advantage of selling the home. Where if there's not enough equity and you're selling the home for, let's say, 8, 9% closing costs, well, you might have to end up writing a check from your own pocket just to get rid of an asset. And that's always painful, right? Now, when there is a seller financing piece, that means that, hey, let's say you're selling this home for 350 grand and you have an underlying loan of what's the balance here? The balance on the loan is 244 grand. So there is an equity amount for the seller financing piece in 68 grand. So the seller says, hey, I don't want to sell it for anything less than what I thought. Let me take the piece of equity that I have. I will loan my equity out to you for 3.8% interest rate. But there's a balloon payment. I want it all due in 10 years. So for the first 10 years, if you understand how amortization schedule works, is that the first 10 years is typically interest. So they're making money on the equity, so it's a double win for the seller, especially if they were in a position where they could not get the price that they were looking for had they gone out onto the open market. Because the value of this home is in the underlying debt, which is a 2.75% interest rate, which is very advantageous, right? Now, does that mean every subject to deal is a deal? That's going to depend on your own circumstances and what you believe is your criteria for determining whether or not something is a good deal or not. Okay. So for this property, what I want to do with you all today is go through and help you understand how to actually analyze this deal. So the first thing I'm going to do is if you assume it's for Section 8 and you haven't seen our prior lives where we talked about a rent reasonableness test, make sure you look at it. But today I'm just going to go look at the affordablehousing.com and I'm going to go to the owner section and I'm going to go to the market rent estimator. I'm going to plug in the address, plug in the bedroom count, and you're going to see right here that on average for 25 units that are 4 bedroom plus 4 bedroom properties within a 0.45 mile radius, the average rent is 2385, 2385. So I'm going to use that as my rental assumption for this property. Okay. Now let me plug in the rest of these details right here while you're watching alongside, so we understand how to plug it in and analyze the deal. So I'm going to go to B4 and put in $350,000 for my renovations and my property. Let's take a look at the condition of the home. This home looks pretty good. I mean, there's some carpeting that you might want to remove, but for the most part, it's not bad. So I'm gonna leave this at about 5 grand, right? If you want to go to the rehab calculator, you can plug in some details there. Typically, I put about three change toilets from to a high pressure flush toilet. So there's 3 toilets there. So that I don't have any issues. I'll probably put about 500 square feet of touch-up paint just in case there's something I need to do. For flooring, I'll probably assume that I need to replace about 500 square feet of carpet to LVP. I got 500 bucks for some landscaping just to kind of keep things tidy, and I got 500 bucks for the roof repair. So that gives me total rehab about, okay, we can go up to 10 grand. That's probably more than enough. Now, let me plug in our loan details next. So we saw that there is an FHA loan. So someone bought this as a primary residence property. So they got an FHA loan, which allows them to have a pretty low down payment. And they bought it, and the loan balance on that property is 244,115. The interest rate is 2.75%. It's going to mature on 1/1/2051. So they close on 1/1/2021, 30 years before that. Then there's a salary for INCP. So I'm going to put that into K16, put 68385, and then I got 3.8% interest rate there. I got 10 years on the balloon, and then we'll just put that as 5/1/20. 125. Great. So now I got 2.5% for closing costs. Let's see what my entry fee is. My entry fee is going to be 28,500 for the cash seller, 28500 with a $10,000 assignment fee, which is also the same thing as a finder's fee. So my PITI, if you have this number right here, the total monthly payment that's been disclosed to me is 2172. So I'll go to right here, 2172, and I'm going to subtract principal of the subject to loan, interest portion of the subject to loan, minus the principal portion of subject to loan, minus the interest portion of the salary financing fees, excuse me. So that'll give me 856. So that covers the HOA and etc. And then I'm gonna also add $50 of additional expenses for insurance because I'm assuming the current insurance estimate is probably there to cover a primary residence property because someone's living there. If you're gonna turn it to investment property, it's gonna be more expensive. So I'm adding $50 premium right away. Then I got 10% set aside for maintenance of my rents every single month. I got 8% set aside for property management. It should be about 8 to 10 or sometimes even 12%, depending on what it is. And I got 5% for vacancy. So on this property, if I were to sell as a 4-bedroom for $23.85, I would be negative, so losing $386 a month after all my expenses. That's a negative 8.2% return. That's assuming I bought this property for 350 grand. With the 28.5K down payment or the total entry fee of roughly including rehab 56 grand. So for me, this is not a deal, right? Now, the thing is, it might be a deal for you if you were buying it as a prime residence and you're like, oh, wow, where else can I get a 2.75% interest rate? That's almost impossible. Just be careful of FHA loans because sometimes you have to self-perform those loans. So you got to consult an attorney, title company. You got to consult with somebody that knows what they're doing. Get all your legal paperwork in place. This is not legal advice. It's not financial advice. I'm not soliciting any investments on this call. I'm just showing you how to plug in tactically the numbers from a creative finance deal because I don't want you to just jump ahead and say, oh, this is a creative finance deal. When you looked at the rents of $23.85 and you say, oh, the PITI is $21.72, I should be cash flowing $210-ish per month, right? But that's not how the world works. You have to deduct expenses by one, increasing your insurance expenses, but also making sure you're setting aside money every single month for maintenance, right? I just got a repair bill for $15,000 and that was for a roof replacement. I had an HVAC that was stolen. That was another $5,000. All these items add up really quick, really fast. That's why all these factors matter, okay? Now, the next thing I'm gonna do is I hope you guys copy my homework. I hope you guys get a copy of the spreadsheet. I didn't make the spreadsheet from scratch. If you go to affordablehousing.io and you go to the Get Deal Analysis tool, plug in your name, email, your phone number. That's the fastest for you to get a copy of the spreadsheet. And my hope is that you look at the same deal analyzed today, right? This is right out there. This was sent to me. Plug in the same details, use the same spreadsheet, and put it on your own YouTube channel. Because at some point, someone's going to ask you, hey, why think this is a deal? And you can say, hey, I'm looking at BRRRR deals. I'm looking at traditional on-the-market deals. I'm looking at creative finance deals for the past 481 days. Might that give you some confidence that you know what you're doing? I certainly hope so. All right. I hope you all have an amazing Thursday. Spend some quality time with your family and friends today because that's what life is all about. All right. I'll see you all tomorrow for day 482. Have a good one, everybody. I'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks for joining live, and I appreciate you all so much.